first off, congratulations. And I'd love to know how it felt when you discovered that you'd won the Charity Village inaugural award for youth engagement.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely felt really great. Especially, I think, we're working remotely right now and we're not all together as a team. And so, in a way, it felt like I really wish we were all in the same place to get to celebrate together. But it was definitely a nice piece of recognition. And that's not why we do the work, but it's always nice to be recognized.
Well, I'd love for you to talk about your organization and what you do, because many of the people that attended the awards said, "Oh, that's fantastic, but what is it that they did?" Because, of course, everyone's interested in learning from each other. So, could you tell us about your organization, the program, and the work that you do that you think really made the difference that allowed you to win this award?
So CityHive, we're a nonprofit based in Metro Vancouver, and our mission is to transform the way that young people are engaged in shaping their cities, in planning and decision making, and in tackling really complex urban issues. And we really emerged based on a gap that we saw on a city level, where when decisions were being made about affordability, about climate action, about housing, any sort of issues, usually youth weren't included in that decision making. And so we work on building the capacity of youth to be able to engage and building their skills, knowledge, and agency through civic education programs. And then we also work directly with municipal governments and other institutions to transform their youth engagement practices from the inside. And I think something that's really key to us is, well, first off, we're youth founded and youth run. I'm one of the two co-founders. Alongside Jessica Trong. And we really were built based off of lots of conversations with youth in the city. We had tons of youth focus groups at the beginning that kind of led to our birth as an organization. And we have a full youth staff team, a youth board. We hire youth facilitators. So everybody that we employ is youth. And we really are youth-centered and youth-guided. And we have a youth advisory that shapes what we do and how we do it. And definitely all of the programming that we lead is really centered on what youth need and the assets that youth bring to the table, whether it's a program that we're running for youth or whether it's a program that we're running for a municipal government. We always make sure that we're centering youth's needs and prioritizing that above everything else.
Yeah, it's. I think that is the thing that makes the difference. That the youth are involved in the services that you are offering as a nonprofit to engage youth. It's actually internalized within your own organization. So critical to that sort of walking your talk, so to speak. Uh, what's been the impact on your organization of winning this award? About your team or your coworkers? Has it been good for team morale or perhaps even the mental health and well-being during this difficult time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said, I think we never set out to do this work to win awards, but the main feedback loops that we get are through seeing youth continue to engage and through seeing institutions change and really seeing that systems change. And having said that, it's still really nice to be recognized. And I think that especially in, this time of the year where it's starting to get darker, being this far into the pandemic, where we're still in this, we're getting out of it, but we're still in this kind of liminal pandemic space. It just definitely really was a morale boost and really great to be recognized even beyond our region, and really recognized along so many other amazing and incredible organizations that we really look up to, some of whom we've partnered and worked with before. So that really feels like an honor, and we're really grateful and really proud, because it truly is such a team effort to be able to do everything that we do.
And, one of the important things is really to allow people to learn from each other in these awards. And so I'd love to give you an opportunity to provide some advice to other organizations or leaders across Canada who might be interested in emulating the work that you do. What advice would you have for them?
I think specifically in the realm of youth engagement, and as we were discussing earlier around, we really center youth in everything that we do. We're youth informed and youth guided every step of the way. And there's this saying, nothing about us without us. So everything, I think, when organizations are designing programs or processes, especially when we're working on systems change, especially when we're working with demographics that have been systemically marginalized, the most important thing to do is to include those demographics, include those people, include those users or participants of the organization from the very first step of design of programs and processes. So I think that's a really key step. And I think for organizations that are looking to engage youth, I think that's a really key first step, is include youth at the table when you're first thinking up programming, and make sure that they're at the center of design. And then I think another really big piece of advice specifically on youth engagement as well is that youth isn't a monolith. It's not a homogenous category, and there's so many different demographics of youth that have different assets and also experience different barriers to participation. So for organizations that are looking to engage youth, I think the most important thing is to look at youth who are facing the most barriers to participation and design any sort of youth engagement around being able to meet their needs in the best way that they can. And then I think just generally in terms of advice for other organizations, I think, we're so impact driven. Everything we do is to be able to have that social impact. And also I think what that means is that often it can be really easy to, be head down and be doing the work and really focused on seeing that impact. And I think what this award did for us, and it kind of did for me and took a few days to do for me, was to come up for air and just take a moment to celebrate. Because often social impact organizations are working on really big system changes that take, years and years and years to really see through. And it's really, really important to take moments to celebrate, both, with the team and as an organization and with the community that we're serving. And that's a lesson that I'm still taking in. It's sometimes it's hard to pause and celebrate, but it's so important to do.
Well said. Do you think that these awards are good for the sector and at large? And if so, why?
I think it definitely, yeah, building off of what I was just saying, I think it's so important to take a pause and to celebrate, especially doing work that often is really all consuming. And, it's often nonprofit and charity work is something that you don't, close your laptop at the end of the day and then come back to the next day, but it's something that you really carry with you everywhere you go, and you go to sleep thinking about and wake up thinking about. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. And so I think it's so important to be able to recognize organizations that are doing really good work and to give them the opportunity to celebrate beyond just experiencing the impact that they're having. And I think something else that's great about these awards is being across the country, is being able to learn about organizations and charities of all different sizes that are doing really incredible work. And CityHive is an example of an organization that's based in Metro Vancouver. And I think often, we hear a lot of Ontario-centered organizations, and I think sometimes we're forgotten about out west, and I think that maybe happens out east and up north as well. So it's great to have some of that pan-Canadian recognition too, and just really to be able to celebrate all of the great work that we're all doing and the impact that we're trying to achieve.
Well, thank you, and certainly it's really insightful for us too, because that's what I've been hearing back from people as well, is that there's so few opportunities to really, for all these nonprofit organizations and charities who might be caught in silos because of their hard work and their dedication to deliver on their mission, and that and often they're either in particular social driven missions where they speak to each other, or else they're just geographically so far apart that there's few opportunities for everyone to come together and learn from each other and also celebrate all that good work.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me and for the recognition again. We're so ecstatic to receive it, and thanks so much.